Hey everybody, today I'll be talking through my entire board game collection. Now I try to do one of these videos every year just to give you guys an idea about what's come in and gone out of the collection, and more importantly what's earned its place and kept its place in the collection. Now I'm not quite sure how many games I have at the moment, I've not counted, but I imagine it's around the 200 mark, maybe a little bit over that, and I'm pretty happy with where the collection is at the moment. I'm trying to only keep the games that I really love, because of course I have so many games coming through on the channel. Although I enjoy so many, of course I cannot keep them all. But before I get started on the games, I want to give a shout out to the show sponsor, keyender.co.uk, who are my go-to online retailer. And if you use the link in the show notes or the QR code, then you can get 5% off your first order. Okay, so let's start with the big box games here that are on top of my three 3x4 Kallax shelves. So we have three big box games here by Queen Games, as well as the El Grande big box by Z-Man Games. And I haven't actually played the newest El Grande version, despite this being my favourite game of all time. So we have Amerigo, a brilliant Feld game, Wallenstein, quickly becoming one of my favourite area control games, as well as the second Stefan Feld game with Marrakesh. This one has really grown on me as well over the years, despite not trying any of the expansions, but really enjoying this one, despite some production issues. I don't actually have many unplayed games at the moment, so it's quite a good time to do this video. I have a really cool game here called Equity. I say cool game, I've not played it yet, but it comes in a lovely box that was very kindly sent to me by a subscriber of the channel, and I feel bad because I've not played it yet. And also Lands of Galzir as well. I've not tried this one, so this one's coming up quickly to be covered on the channel, as well as the Movies Star expansion for Picture Perfect. So you'll see that one coming up in the collection shortly. And while I'm here, I may as well show you some of my little accessories. So I've got some really nice dice here, one from Magi7. These are like my deluxe dice. Really nice set here. They're very weighty too, these kind of like tiger's eye style, if I can get it to focus. These are really weighty and they feel really nice in the hand. As well as a Geek and Son dice tower, which I should use more really. And my girlfriend got me these really nice Lord of the Rings dice as well for, I think it was a birthday. But these are really cool, they've got a little one ring inside. But let's crack on with the other games. So these next two rows are my more involved, bigger box Euros. And I should say that if you didn't know, I do share a collection with my brother. And although we mostly cross over in our taste, there are some differences. So if there's ever a game here that I don't like, you might wonder why I've got it in the collection. It's probably because it does not belong to me. And I'm sure I've got games that he doesn't like either. But we have Carson City here. This is the big box version that I was after for so long. Love this game. Glad to have it in the collection. Same goes for Gold West, actually. Nice that they actually reprinted this one. A lovely little lightweight Euro with a cool resource management system. Great games here with Concordia and Chinatown. Concordia, actually a game I don't have any of the expansion content for, despite playing it so many times. I might need to pick up the Salsa expansion. Botanicus was an interesting one where I'm not quite sure this will stay around long term, but for now I do like it. Caesar's Empire, The Rich and the Good, probably my favourite economic style game, and The Great Maracaibo. So this is actually the only Alexander Pfister game I own anymore. I think it is anyway. Despite playing them all, this is kind of beats them all out for me. Games like Blackout Hong Kong, Great Western Trail, the other one with the airships. This is the one that I prefer out of all of them. Some different games here now. We got this is actually a few games of the Gyp series inside this Yinch box. So I have Yinch, Tsar, Devon, and Link all inside this one box, which is quite nice in terms of saving space. The Classic Ingenious by Rainer Knizia, lovely kind of abstract family weight style game that's pretty easy to pick up and play. Zolkin the Mayan Calendar, probably the first Euro game I ever played. Foundations of Metropolis, which is the retail version of Foundations of Rome. Really getting on with this one. I think it's a lovely game. More Euros here with Terra Pyramides, a criminally underrated Kramer and Kiesling game. God knows why this one didn't take off as well as it did, or maybe the distribution isn't where it needs to be, but it's a brilliant tile placement game and up there with Kramer and Kiesling's best, if you didn't know about that one. Pulsar 2849 by Suki. Deus. So Deus is actually one of the only games that I ever culled from my collection and bought it back again. And I'm glad I did, because this is such a cool little engine building game. I even got the Egypt expansion, which makes the game even better. Chin, a fairly rare Knizia domino tile placement style game. So elegant, brilliant design. And Dragon Keepers by Michael Menzel, who's mostly known for artwork. Doesn't really fit the feel of these other games, but it's got a nice little box size, so it slits right in this gap nicely. Some more modern games now. We got Tower Up, really smooth, again, family weight, little tower building style game. Kathmandu, which is a Feld game that's definitely flown under the radar, part of the City collection, which are ludicrously expensive, but I do like this. Again, more family plus weight little racing game. Civolution, which of course comes on the polar opposite end of the scale of a game like Kathmandu, despite being from the same designer, epic Civ style game. A Teletum, which is I think my current favourite game of the T-series, wonderful dice drafter. Some slightly lighter games here with Manhattan. This one's always a good kind of go-to area control game. Really low rules overhead, but great player interaction. Rebirth, one of my, if not my favourite game from 2024. Another Knizia one. Speaking of Knizia, we've got the classic Ra. I did get the new version by Ian O'Toole, well, with the artwork by Ian O'Toole. I don't think this is the big... I know there's a deluxe one with the special tiles. This one's like the mid-range one. Capital Lux 2 Generations, one of my favourite blackjack-style push your luck card games. Such a brilliant design. And Condottiere, kind of a war-style hand management game, which is an absolute classic from the 90s, actually. More Feld here with Bonfire, Aquasphere, and the Oracle of Delphi. I've played all these games recently. I still love them, and Feld seems to have that perfect brain that suits mine in terms of what I enjoy out of board games. I'm not, you might see here that I'm quite a Eurocentric gamer. Theme isn't really important to me. It's all about the mechanisms, and these games have great mechanisms in spades. Puerto Rico, one of the best Euros ever made. I got the original version here. This is kind of the only one that appeals to me, to be honest. Pioneer Rails is an interesting one. Kind of, again, unlike these games, but it's a nice little kind of draft and write style game. It actually works really well. I'm trying to build routes. I actually like this one more than I thought I was going to. Moving on to the next one, we got the Great Glenmore 2 Chronicles, my favourite tile placement game with the best implementation of the time track system, where you can go as far as you want, but you don't get another turn until the other players catch up with you. No game does it better than Glenmore 2 Chronicles. Pergamon, nice medium lightweight Euro. More Feld here with Bora Bora in the Year of the Dragon, and the Castles of Burgundy, and Notre Dame, actually. Speaking of games that I sold and reacquired, like Deus, Notre Dame is another one of those. I really regretted getting rid of that one, and glad to have it back. And the last one on this row are 3 brilliant Euros. Keyflower, Ultimate Railroads, and Barrage. And these are iconic Euros, as good as it gets when it comes to Euro strategy games. Let's go to the next row then, and this is when the games start to become a bit more eclectic. So we have Bomb Busters, really cool cooperative deduction style game. Captain Flip. This game is really blowing me away, actually. It's so simple and almost silly, but it just works really well. Really charming and easy to play set collection game. Spectacular, which is one of the big hits from me personally from 2024. A great kind of tile placement and dice drafting hybrid. Acropolis, one of my most played games of the last few years. Great little tile placement game. And Kodama Forest. Now, this is a Tetris Polyomino style game that is actually one of the only games that my girlfriend bought. So this is actually my girlfriend's copy. And it has this weird kind of between two cities mechanism where you're working with your neighbours. Moving on then, more kind of eclectic games. Here we've got Fairy Ring, another nice family friendly one. Framework by Uwe Rosenberg, and I think this is one of the only Rosenberg games that I own. So despite me being such a huge Euro fan, I generally don't click with his games, and I prefer his lighter, his lighter styles. And this one is a reminder of Nova Luna, if you're familiar with that game, but I prefer the mechanism of Framework because it's kind of a step above, but it's not quite as attractive, sadly. Hadara, this is one of my favourite games I've played this year so far. Really cool little engine tableau builder. Same goes with Veil of Eternity, one of the best games to come out in the last couple of years. Harmonies, lovely little approachable puzzly style game, which I'm sure all you guys are aware of. And here we go back to the beigeness with the beige Euros. These are the styles of games that I really love. Firenze, classic game by Andreas Stedding. Again, building towers. Brussels 1893. Now, this is the original version, not the new one that came out last year. Troyes with the Ladies of Troyes expansion. Still love this one of the first Euros that I played. And Lorenzo Il Magnifico with the Masters of Renaissance expansion. Now, forgive me if this gets a bit awkward now because I am trying to squeeze through a small gap, and hopefully it won't be too much of an issue. But here we go with Rise, a really underrated game from I think 2 or 3 years ago now, all about climbing tracks, lots of satisfying combos. Morfeld with Luna and Trajan. Trajan, probably my favourite Feld at the moment. In fact, it has been for a very long time. And Vikings, more Michael Kiesling, one of his best games that's sadly very much out of print. And of course, my own game here, Thalamus. This is what I think is a cool little 2 to 4 player abstract strategy game. I have copies available. If you want to drop me a line, you can grab yourself a copy of my own game. Moving on then, so more family weight style games, I suppose you can call these that. Babylonia, a brilliant Knizia root building game. Katarenga. This is an interesting game for me where it's kind of like a chess variant, but the pieces move depending on the space that they are stood on. So based on these different colours, which is really cool. Little twist on the chess game. Lost Code, probably my favourite, in fact, definitely my favourite deduction game. Rumble Nation, great dice-driven area control game. So much fun to play, super fast as well. Highly recommend you check out that one. And more dice fun with Las Vegas Royale. On to the more Eurocentric games then, with Grand Austria Hotel with the Let's Waltz expansion. Newton, I think with all of the expansion material in one box here. St. Petersburg 2nd edition, one of the best card-driven tableau style games. This one, again, very much out of print, so grateful to have a copy of that one. I'm sure it'll come out again soon. Hands Teutonica, the big box, one of the best games ever made by, again, Andreas Stedding. And a Jiraku. So this is the deluxe edition of Jiraku, which is, I must say, a lovely version of the game. And this is a game that really did take me by storm. I didn't know anything about it, really. It was actually one of my subscribers who recommended the game to me. And if you watched my recent Top 100 video, this one did remarkably well and was probably the highest debutant in my history, to be honest. Stranger games here, more lighter fare. We have Longshot, the dice game. One of the only games where I didn't have a copy. I played a friend's copy and bought myself one immediately. Love this little wagering push your luck game. KP Europe, brilliant 2-player tug of war game. The same goes for Seven Wonders Duel. Now, at the point of this recording, I've not played the Lord of the Rings version, but I have borrowed a copy off my friend, so hopefully I'll play that one very soon. Get on Board. This is the New York and London version of the game, but I've also got the, I think it's Rome and Paris one in the same box. Match of the Century by the great Paolo Mori. Triqueta. Now, this is a bit of an underrated variant on the Coloretto card game. It works very similarly I think it's by Stefan Dora, actually, who's most known for making For Sale, which will come up later. And I should say, with the Seven Wonders Duel, I do have both the expansions, but I mainly only play with the Agora one, actually. I'm not a big fan of the Pantheon Gods, which is probably a controversial thing to say. We have Lost Seas. So this is a game that's strangely kept its place in my collection. But it's a very simple little puzzly style game where you're trying to put these tiles in the right scoring columns and rows, but inevitably they'll start to ruin each other. more I play it, the more I like it. Rapido, the best push-your-luck game in history. Arboretum, brutal card game. Hiroba, this is a really cool area control Sudoku style game. And Flatime, which I've only just acquired. I've only played this one once at the time of this recording, but I'm liking what I'm seeing. And I think this is all 2-player games. We have the Great War Chest with both the Nobility and the Siege expansions. My favourite abstract strategy game. And we've got some more abstracts and other things here with both of the Mandala games, with the original Mandala, which is a brilliant card game, and Patterns, again, probably my second favourite abstract strategy game. We have Tramban and Lost Cities. Now, these are pretty similar tug-of-war style games, but they're both great. Patchwork, which mainly stays around because of nostalgia, one of my favourite, one of my first 2-player games that I bought. Still really good, but yeah, don't play it as much as I did. The Rose King, this is my brother's game. I've not played this one as much as I would like to. I need to play it some more. And Donuts is, I think this is one of the only Bruno Cathala games that I own that he's designed as a sole designer. Mostly the games that I've kept of his are part of a duo for games like Seven Wonders Duel. Now, the first half of this next row are all of my brother's games. So we have Awkward Guests. Now, this is a fantastic deduction game. Discordia, I wasn't too keen on this it's like a worker placement game, but you're trying to get rid of your workers. It's actually by Bernd Eisenstein, who's most known for Peloponnese, and it definitely has some crossover with that. Blockers, it's okay. Joyride, popular little racing game. Surprisingly good. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. The Search for Planet X, solid deduction game. A Message from the Stars, another deduction game that really impressed me recently. Cursed Court, underrated game that's better for higher player counts. A bit of deduction, a bit of kind of wagering and bluffing. Need a Valir with the first Thingvalir expansion. Junk Draw, a polyomino game, and Karuba, probably one of the most played games that I have in the overall collection. Played this one so many times, and by the great Rudiger Dorn. Moving on then, strange little bunch here. We have Marrakesh, nice little roll and move style game. Corridor, I really like the concept of this game, but I must admit I did bounce quite hard off of it. Love the idea of this abstract, but again, it didn't quite work for me. Bits, another polyomino game. Flash Sloths, which is a pretty quirky racing style game. Apologies for the camera angle. Where you are trying to move your sloth around this map, but you have to use other animals to move it, which is quite a cool idea. By Friedman Fries. Dokmus. Now, this is a criminally underrated little route building style game. Feels like a Knizia, but it's not. I would highly recommend you check that one out if you like games like Babylonia or Rebirth. We have Dice Miner, very luck-driven dice roller. Ship Shape, and this is a really charming game that I'm surprised didn't blow up as much as it could have done. Looks fantastic. Has this really cool puzzly system where you're laying these tiles on top of each other and getting things based on the gaps that you're leaving. It's actually really good fun. We have Cartographers. This is the special edition with all of the different maps in. I must admit I have soured on Cartographers a bit over the years. I think there's just better roll and writes out there, or draft and writes. Can't Stop, classic push your luck game. Run, now this is from Tim Fowers. Now I have played his other games, but that one I've not tried yet, so that one's on my list to try soon. We have Hooky, more deduction games. Furnace, really nice engine building game, and my brother recently acquired the Interbellum expansion, which I really need to play. I've not tried that one yet. And I love Furnace as it is, but I've heard the expansion makes it even better. Cryptid, another deduction game. St. Malo, one of the original OG roll and write style games. It's really good. I've not played it in a while though. And Ancient Knowledge, another game that I've only played once or twice. Now, I did like it, how it works, but I'd need to play it some more just to really solidify my thoughts. And here we go with more of the kind of smaller games in the collection, card games, that kind of thing. So Break the Code, another deduction game that's really tricky actually. World Exchangers. Now this is a game that needs to be known more about. A brilliant little draft and write where you're plotting these graphs and get little bonuses as you go. Kind of works like a balance sheet, which is really cool. I highly recommend that one. Medici, the dice game, which I've not played in a long time actually, but this is actually one of my girlfriend's favourite games. The Resistance Avalon, which is sad to say I've not played it in a long time, and also Quest, which I've not played at all. This is the kind of newer version of the Resistance Avalon. We have a Game of Thrones Betwixt, which is a surprisingly good bluffing and auction game. Very nasty and a bit chaotic, but it works way better than it should. We have Spicy, brilliant bluffing game. Air, Land and Sea with the Spies, Lies and Supplies expansion in there as well, and you can chop and change those, so that's a good little pairing in one box. And I have the original version rather than the Critters at War one, which is a bit more silly. Roll to the Top, simple roll and write. A Parade, great little golf-style card game. A Tashin. Now this is actually probably, it might be the rarest game in my collection. This is the original version of a game called Good Critters, which I think became a Dice Tower Essential actually. A really cool negotiation-style game, works great for higher player counts. The Number, love this game, I don't know why I like it so much, a lot of people hate it. Hex Roller and Cabo. Also, moving on to the next lot here, we have Battleline. I think this was the first two-player game I owned. Still love this Knizian tug-of-war style game. Roman a Day. Forest Shuffle with, I think it's got 2 expansions in it. And QE, which I'm really itching to play actually. If you're not aware what QE is, it's an auction-style game where you can bid whatever you want. We have Rustling Leaves by Paolo Mori, one of my favourite simple roll and write style games where you're trying to section off these different things on these really huge sheets. Well, they're small, but they have lots of symbols on them. And they all score points in different ways. Love that one. Castle Combo, the best filler from 2024. Marabunta, really underrated Knizia 2-player game. Stella and Subastral, great 2-player card games. In fact, Stella is 2-player, Subastral is multiplayer, but it's they both are somewhat similar, but they're both very solid. High Score, Pushy Luck, Dice Roller, Nar, and a Bluxen, also known as a Linko, which is a great card shedding game. Moving on then to the next segment, again just squeezing through here, we have Tempura. Reviewed this one recently on the channel. Not a fan, sadly. Another shedding game. Clink. Now this is an interesting take on the kind of cockroach poker style game. This one I think gamifies it enough to make it a bit more, something gives you a bit more to latch on to, in my opinion. A lot of fun. And I'd love to play that one some more. We've got Archaeology, a new expedition, quite a punishing little set collection game. District Noir, which is a reprint of Throne and Grail, kind of I think it's a Japanese game, I'm not sure actually. Floriferous, which I think might be, no it's not, one of the only 2 of the Pencil First games that I still own. So I've still got Floriferous and Herbaceous. These were my favourite 2 of the bunch. I ended up parting with, I think it was Sunset Over Water and Delicious, and Far Away as well, one of the best filler games from the last couple of years. We have Motor City, also Alice's Garden, really underrated polyomino game. For Sale, which I showed you earlier, this was the first filler game I ever bought and still one of the best. Fleet the Dice game, which is again from the same designers of Motor City, quite more involved roll and write style games with lots of combos. And Flea Market. Now this is a game that again hugely underrated, little dice rolling bidding style game that's so simple to play, but it just has so much charm, and I really love this one. Moving on to the last segment on this row, we have Flip Town, another flip and write, which I must admit I've not played much of, so I do need to try that some more. Take a Seat, quirky little polyomino game where you are kind of crafting out the shapes as you go. Another Rosenberg game, this is my brother's, all creatures big and small. This is the 2-player version of Agricola, essentially. It's okay. We have a Biblios, brilliant filler game. Valbara, which has really grown on me. We have the Next Station London and Next Station Paris in this single box here. I've heard that the Tokyo one isn't very good, so I've only got those two at the moment. But I love this system of Next Station. And Ratjack, a game that I've praised quite a lot recently. This is a blackjack variant with special powers. Okay, so let's go on to the final row, and we're going to start with this cube here that has 4 family weight style games. We have Quacks of Quedlinburg, massively popular push your luck game. My Farm Shop, which is kind of a Maxi Coro improvement in my opinion. Picture Perfect, and The Quest for El Dorado, a deck building racing game that's very popular by Rainer Knizia. That one has grown on me over the years. The next one, it's pretty random games here. We have Speculation, a very swingy economic game. I've not played that one much. Mysterium with Detective Club in the same box. So if you want those kind of picture-driven games or party games like Dixit, that's my kind of go-to box. We can play Mysterium, Dixit, or Detective Club with the contents of that one. First and Roll, kind of an American football game that I must admit I don't play. Sheriff of Nottingham, which is one of my go-to games when I have my bigger group of friends around. Next one, Path of Civilization and Museum, the kind of collector's edition here. Now, Museum, a game that I have cooled on. I think the game is absolutely gorgeous to look at, but there are better games out there that are much faster, albeit not as attractive, but you can get kind of more of the same experience. But it does have some good set collection going on, but the box here is just too big. And Path of Civilization, I've not played this one much. Although I like some of the ideas in it, it kind of feels like the game plays you a little bit rather than you playing the game. But I do need to play it some more. I'm going to shuffle along to the next one. So we have By the Vote. So this is an unusual little bidding game, a little simultaneous play. Some cool ideas, but it is a little bit rough around the edges. Cross Clues, Skipbo, Trickster, a game I've not played. I don't like trick taking. And this is The Fugitive. So we mentioned Tim Fowers' Run on the row above. This is another 2-player only deduction game that works really well actually. And behind there we also have a Game of Thrones, the board game, which I've not played after having it for about 4 years. So that one's probably never going to see the light of day, sadly. Next cube, only a few games in this one. With Wits and Wagers, one of the best party games ever made. Absolute Balderdash, not played that one, need to play it. And Crossed Words as well. This is a really cool word association game, and a game that I'll play anytime, anywhere. And I must admit, I'm pretty damn good at this game. That is Crossed Words. And the next one is more party games with Telestrations, probably the funniest board game ever made. Time's Up, and also Sides and Word Slam. So again, very simple word games that are good for like Christmas and other occasions where non-gamers can join in. On to the last couple of, well, 3 more cubes to go. This one has all my kind of oink-sized games here, as well as some other card games, so we'll go through these. We have Rafter 5, as well as Dropolter. These are for my dexterity games, so I don't play dexterity games very often, so it's quite nice to have an option that doesn't take up much space at all. And the second game that belongs to my girlfriend is Huga. It's actually a really good game by Sashi, a little set collection game. We have Startups, probably one of my favourite Oink games, along with we have Well to Look. I didn't really like that one. Mask Men, really difficult game to teach, but it's actually really good. Rarely play it, but I should play it some more. And of course the very famous Scout, which I think is probably rightly deserved to be the most highly revered game by Oink. We have Zooscape, recently acquired that one, and some really cool card games here with R-Eco. This is R-Eco Plus, which is the reprint of the original R-Eco, with an alternative version by Hobby Japan. Very grateful that these guys attended the UK Games Expo, and I managed to grab myself a copy because it's pretty much unavailable otherwise. Photograph, which is the remaking of Wind the Film, very tough little card game. Romy Rami, a nice little drafting game. Kahandle, which is your bluffing, really cool bluffing game. Kobe Yakawa, another simple bluffing game that's grown on me. Mind Up, which is a variant on 6 Nimpt. Hanamikoji, Kaching, and High Society. Kaching, if you're not aware of it, is a really cool little open drafting game where you're drafting cards based on columns and multiplying them together. This one here, we have the Bank, nice little party game. Again, more bluffing. Unusual Suspects, very funny. Don't play that one very often though. And of course, no collection would be complete without just one, and so Clover. And the final game on this segment is Trap Words, another party style game. And let's go on to the final Kallax then. If I can just feng shui my way around. This is where I've got my mainly, well, very tiny card games. So we have Forks, we have Good Face, Bad Face, we've got Pusheen, so I should say this is another game my girlfriend owns actually, nice little stacking game, sadly with a printing mistake. Kabanga, we have Bonanza the Jewel, which I've not played. This is the original vegetable stock. I actually got that copy before it kind of blew up. We have Fuji Flush, Gap, really nice little card game there. No Thanks, Six Nimpt, Coloretto, Ohanami, Enchanted Plumes, and Splitter. So some absolute classics there, especially with this middle bunch here. They're, again, essentials for a good collection, in my opinion. We have Push, one of my favourite Push Your Luck games. We have Hit Extreme, Trio, great memory game, Circus Flocati, Couture, Age of War, and finally the great bluffing game of Skull. So there we go, that does it for another year. So hopefully you've enjoyed the video and found a game or two that has piqued your interest. If you have, please be sure to hit like and subscribe to the channel, and hopefully we can improve the collection even more. But for everybody else, I'll see you next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye bye.